Welcome to channel Key Automation. In today's session we will see about built-in locator methods in Playwright. So far in our previous sessions we have seen that there are multiple ways to locate elements. We have seen using CSS selectors, we have also used XPath, unique property of element, and also using text as well we can locate elements. But there is one more way. So Playwright has given some built-in locators as well. So what are these built-in locators in Playwright? Playwright provides built-in locators to interact with web elements in a clean and readable way. These locators help to target elements effectively. So along with page.locator method which we have seen previously, Playwright has also provided some additional ways to locate elements easily. So these are some Playwright's built-in locator methods which are provided. For example, page.getByAltText. It is used to locate an element, usually images, by its text alternative. I will show you some of the examples as well, but these are some locator methods which are built in and it is provided by Playwright itself. For example, page.getByTitle. This method is used to locate an element by its title attribute. So if you have some element which is having title attribute, we can capture that element by using page.getByTitle method. We also have page.getByPlaceholder method. It will be used to locate an input by placeholder. We also have page.getByText to locate by text content. We have page.getByLabel to locate a form control by associated labels text. We also have page.getByRole. It is used to locate by explicit and implicit accessibility attributes. And we also have page.getByTestID. It is used to locate an element based on its data test ID attribute. And we can also configure other attributes as well. So if you go to official documentation of Playwright, they have provided a quick guide for these built-in locators. For example, page.getByRole, getByText, getByLabel, getByPlaceholder, getByAltText, getByTitle, getByTestID. Now I will show you some example of these built-in locators. So I have one website that is currently open. On this website, what I am going to do is I am going to first show getByAltText locator method. So I am going to click on this t-shirt. On this website, I will open this website and I am going to click on this t-shirt by using getByAltText method. It is used to locate an element, usually images, by its text alternative. So let me inspect this element. Let me inspect this t-shirt. If you inspect it, you can see here there is one alt tag. Alt tag equals to blue cotton t-shirt. So I am going to use this alt tag. It is usually given for the images. It is an alternative text for images. And I am going to click on this image by using this alt tag and by using getByAltText method. So let's start this out. So I am just going to Visual Studio Code. In this I am going to create a new file. Let's create a new file. I am naming it as built-in locator demo.spec.js. And then we have some basic syntax. That is, we have to define constant test comma expect equals to require @playwright -test module. So we are importing test and expect module from playwright test module. So this should be in curly brackets. Yeah, now it's fine. So I'm just saving this file. And next step is we have to define a test block. Inside this test block, I'm going to give the name, that is, let's say, built-in locators demo. So I'm going to show you one built-in locators demo, comma, we have to use one anonymous function. Inside this anonymous function, we have to pass page fixture, or we can say object of page, by which we can access different methods in Playwright. Yeah, so this is our test block. What is the next step now? Before this, we have to put async keyword, and then we have to start with our test script by starting with await. First step is page.goto. So we have to open the URL of that web page. So I will just copy this URL, automationteststore.com. I am pasting that URL here. It will launch the page. It will open this website. After opening this website, what is the next step I want to do is, I want to click on this t-shirt. So for this, I want to use this alt tag. So I'm just copying this alt tag here, and then I will do await page dot. Now I am not going to use page dot locator. I will directly use page dot get by alt text. And in this, we have to just pass this text which we have copied. This is present in that image as an alt tag. If you see, if you inspect this image, this is the alt tag which is present. So I'm just using it in our script by inside the get by alt text method. And after getting this element, we are going to click on this. So that's why I'm using dot click method. Now it will click that image. So if you see now, it will click this image. After clicking this image, we are going to land up on this web page. It will land on this web page. Now what I want to do is, after landing on this web page, what I will do, if you see this placeholder, this is a email input box. We have to provide some email ID, and then we can click on subscribe button. We have to provide some email ID here, and if you see, the placeholder is subscribe to newsletter, and subscribe is a button here. So what I am going to do now is, once you come on this web page, I will use another way of capturing this subscribe to newsletter input field. Let's inspect this element. If you inspect this element, you can see what is the placeholder here, subscribe to newsletter. I am just copying this. Let's copy this and go to our script. Now this was example for alt text. Now I will also show you for the placeholder as well. Page dot get by placeholder method, and in this I am simply passing that placeholder. So it will capture that placeholder element, and then we have to fill some value in it. So I will just fill example@gmail.com. So it will fill example.gmail.com inside this input field, and then we have to click on subscribe button. Now to click on this subscribe button, again I will use another way, that is get by role method. So for get by role method, this is basically button type. So if you see, this is a button, submit is a button. So this subscribe is basically having a role of button. So if you see their official documentation for page.getByRole, it is used to locate by explicit and implicit accessibility attributes. So if I open this, there are multiple roles which are present for elements. For example, it can be a button, it can be a link, it can be a checkboxes, headings, tables, and many more. If you go to their official documentation, you will get all the roles. So if you have to locate that specific button, then we can use like this: await page.getByRole button as a first parameter, comma, in curly bracket you can use any attribute, and then you can use dot click. So what I'm going to use is, so if you go to our web page, we are going to use role as button and type equals to submit. So I'm just copying this. Let's go to our script and then use await page dot get by role. In this we have to pass this, not this one, sorry. Let's use await page dot get by role. What is the role? First parameter, basically it's a button, comma, then you have to use type. What is the type here? If you see, type is submit. I'm just using this submit. Let's go to script and pass this value here. So it will capture that submit button, and then we have to click on that button. So once it click on that button, what will happen? So it will pass, we are going to pass some value in it, and then we are going to click on subscribe. After clicking on subscribe, on which page it is going, we have to verify something there. So here if you see, we should need some validation point here. So what I am going to validate is, you can see your personal details. This text is present here. So to verify this text, we can use one more method, built-in locator method, that is get by text method. It is also used to locate by text content. So we can use dot get by text method as well. So what I will do, I will simply use expect. Inside this I am going to capture await page dot get by text, and inside this get by text I am going to pass value of this text. So what is the value? Your personal details. I am just copying this. Let's go to script, and this I want to be visible. If this is visible, to be visible. If it is visible, that means our test case is passed. So let me just use like this, control save. So we have seen what we have seen so far, built-in locator methods. We have seen get by alt text, it should click on that t-shirt. Then we have seen placeholder also, it will go on that subscribe to newsletter placeholder, it will click on that and it will pass this value. Then we have seen also the role, get by role, which will basically find the button role type with type as submit. It will click on that button, and then in the next screen it will land up on this web page, and here we are verifying that this text is present or not. Your personal details text is present or not. If it is present, then our test case is passed. So let's save this file and let's execute this file now. Let's give the name of the file. What is the name of the file here? Built-in locator underscore demo dot spec dot js. So I'm going to execute this test case now. So let's see, by using built-in locators, we are able to capture these elements and successfully run our test case or not. So it is launching the browser. It is starting our test using one worker. It is launching the browser. It will click on that t-shirt. If you see, all the steps are executed successfully. If you see, one test case is passed, means all the steps got successfully executed. But again, if you want to see the execution in slow mode or controlled manner, we can use debug mode as well. So let me show you in debug mode also. In debug mode, we can control our test case execution flow step by step. So I'm just going to execute this test case in debug mode as well. So it is launching the debug mode. It has launched the browser and these are the steps which are present. So one by one, let's execute these steps. So first step, next, it will open the web page, that is automationteststore.com. First step is completed. If I press next, it will find this blue cotton t-shirt and it will click on this. If you see, it is already highlighting this element. I'm just clicking next. It will successfully click on it. Next step is, we have to identify this placeholder, get by placeholder method, to identify subscribe to newsletter, which is at the bottom basically. So if you see at the bottom of our web page, there is subscribe to newsletter. That should, if you see, this is here. So when I click on next, it will pass the value in this. If I click on next, it will click on that get by role button with type as submit. So let's press next, and now the validation point. In the validation point, we are verifying this get by text method to check your personal details is present on this web page or not, to be visible. If it is visible, that means our test case is passed. So let's click on this next button and our test case is successfully passed. So what are the different built-in locators we have seen so far? We have seen get by alt text, we have seen get by placeholder, we have seen get by text, we have also seen get by role as well. Similarly, we can also check for get by title also. So I will show you the same example with get by title. So on this same website, I will go to home page again. Let's go to home page. On this home page, there are some elements. So let's identify this element. Benefit girl meets Pearl. So I'm just clicking on this link. If you see, for this element, there is a title attribute is present. So if you want to locate the element by using title attribute, if you see, for this link, if you see, there is a title attribute. So I'm just copying this title attribute. I'm pressing Ctrl F, Ctrl V. If you see, there are total multiple elements which are present. So for this title, there are multiple elements are present. So what I will do, let me just quickly check by using XPath also. I'm creating a custom XPath. If you see, there are two elements which are having title, which is we have want to capture. So there are total two elements which are present, one at the top and one at the bottom. So we want to click only on the first one. So in such cases, now I will just show you how we can use when there are multiple elements. So we can use nth index as well. So let's go to Visual Studio Code. Now in this, I am going to comment this part, and basically it will launch the web page here. After that, I will simply use await page dot get by title. In this title, we want to pass this title, and it's the second element which we want to capture. That's why we are going to use nth. Index starts from 0, so I will just pass 1. So it will capture the second element which is having title like this, and then we are going to click on it. So let's click on this. Let's save this file. After clicking on this, what will happen? So I will just go to this. So we will capture this title. We will click on this. After clicking on this, we want some validation point. So what I will do, I will verify whether this model text is present or not. So let's inspect this. So I'm just going to use get by text method to verify this model text is present or not. If it is present, that means our test case is passed. So await, or we can say simply expect. We are going to use expect. Before that, we have to use await expect method page dot get by text. In this, we have to pass this text which we want to verify, and it should be visible. To be visible, if it is visible, that means our test case is passed. So let's save this. So it will launch the website. It will use .get by title method to find out this title element. There are two elements with this title, and we want to click on second one. That's why we have used .nth one. 0 is first element and 1 is for second element. It will click on it, and in the next page it will verify whether this model text is present or not. So now let's execute this file. I am just executing this file in debug mode again. So we can step by step check the execution also. So it will launch the browser in debug mode, and it will execute step by step test execution. So it is launching a test browser now. It is opening the Playwright inspector, and if you see, I am going to click on next. It will open this web page. On the next step, it should click on this element. So I am just pressing next. It successfully clicked on it, and now we are going to verify whether this model text is present or not. So when I click on next, it will execute the step number 11 here. So let's click on next. It is successfully passed. If you see, test is successfully passed. That means we have also verified .get by title method as well. So these are some examples of built-in locator in Playwright. This is the example of built-in locators in Playwright. So we have seen all the type of built-in locators. So we have seen about get by role. We have seen get by text as well. We have seen there is one more method, that is get by label. So when to use get by label? So for example, we can also locate element by using get by label method. So let's say there is a element on your web page like this, which is having label as a tag name. Inside this text is present, and if you want to capture this, then we can simply use await page dot get by label, and we can pass this label value, and we can pass the value, input value, whichever you want. So especially whenever you are using form fields, whenever you want to locate the form fields, we can use get by label as well. Along with that, we have also seen placeholder. We have also seen locate by text, get by text. We have also seen locate by alternative text. How to locate by title by using get by title. And there is one more, that is locate by test ID, that is get by test ID. So it is basically used by default. It will capture data test ID element. So in your application, in your code, if UI element is having this attribute, that is data-test ID, then we can capture that element by using dot get by test ID. And even if it is not data-test ID, but some other type of locator attribute, we can set a custom test ID attribute as well. So by default, page.getByTestID will locate the element based on data-test ID attribute. But you can still configure in your test config by calling this specific code. So in this code, if you see, we are defining that we want to capture this data-pw attribute. So once you put this code, then we can simply locate the element which is data-pw as well. So I would suggest you to explore these options. So there is customization is also possible for get by test ID. So instead of data.test ID, if you want to use data-pw, then we can put this code in playwright config.js file, and then we can use to locate data-pw element attribute element by using dot get by test ID method. So these are basically some of the examples of built-in locators in Playwright. So I hope you like this session. I hope you have understood this session. So these are basically different built-in locator method in Playwright. So we have seen how to use CSS selector, how to use XPath. We can also use unique property of elements. By using text also we can capture the locators. And today we have also seen how to use Playwright's built-in locator methods. We have also seen how to capture multiple elements in our previous session. So that's it for this session. In next session, we will see some more interesting topic of Playwright. So thanks one more time.